first going to go through using these larger hearts, all of the structures that were on your list in Objective 3 and Objective 5. And then I'm going to switch over to the calf hearts, and we'll have a little discussion at the end about what types of structures are more likely to ask you on the models versus what structures I'm more likely to ask you on the formerly living hearts. Okay, so first of all, I just want to say that since we have a fairly big group, don't be afraid to advocate for yourself. If you didn't see something well, I expect you to say, hey, I need to see that again. Okay, so we've got plenty of time, so we'll, make sure we use it wisely. Okay, so let's start with the list and keep track just in case I don't hit everything on the list. Okay, so we're going to start with the tip of the heart, which is the apex. Okay, can you see that well enough? And this is going to slide off, so I'm just going to set it down. Then as I'm circling my fingers here around this area where the large vessels emerge from the heart, that would be the base. Okay, so you can kind of think of the heart as an upside down pyramid. Remember, the pyramid has a base where it's sitting in the sand, and then it has the pointy tip, which is the apex. Just imagine that pyramid upside down, the apex here and the base here. Okay, all right, and we have places where, well, let's go through the chambers first. We have two superior chambers, which are the
right and left
atria. Good, right and left atria. Their job is to, which one? Receive blood or pump blood? Receive blood. Okay, and then inferiorly we have two ventricles. Their job is to pump blood. Okay, send the blood away from the heart.
I swear this formaldehyde always gives me a headache.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, I don't, whatever.
Okay.
It is what it is.
All right, now you'll notice that in places on the heart where chambers meet each other, if you're on an external surface, there's an indentation there. Okay, so where the atria and the ventricles meet, we have what indentations?
Grooves.
The grooves, the atrioventricular grooves. Okay, so there's one on the right.
Oh, okay.
And what vessel lives in that groove?
The left. The right.
The right coronary artery. Okay, and on this model, you can see the right coronary artery branching directly off of the aorta.
Okay.
I'm getting a good spinal twist here today. My yoga instructor would be happy. Okay, and then the left AV groove, we have the, coming toward it, which artery? Left coronary artery. And on most of the models, you can't see very much of the left coronary artery because it actually comes from the aorta and travels posterior to this big blue vessel. What's this big blue vessel?
The pulmonary trunk.
The pulmonary trunk. Okay, so you know in illustrations sometimes they'll have that dashed line showing that something's going behind something else. Okay, so you can think of the left coronary artery as traveling posterior to this vessel, and then it emerges right here where you can see the tip of my finger. Okay, and you can see how it's splitting right away after it emerges from behind the pulmonary trunk.
Yeah, that comes in right from here.
It's coming from the aorta and kind of sneaking
Oh, okay.
through the back passageway here and ending up over here. Okay? And then it's going to split. One branch is going to go out down into this indentation. What's the indentation first?
The anterior ventricular sulcus.
The anterior interventricular sulcus, and this is where the two ventricles meet. And what structure is inside the heart deep to this?
Septum.
The interventricular septum. That's correct. Okay, so by looking at the external surface of the heart, you can see where the interventricular septum would be located. Okay, so that vessel that's running, that artery that's running through here, luckily has the same name. It's the anterior interventricular artery. Okay, so that's a nice, that's a helpful one for us. The anterior interventricular artery in the anterior interventricular sulcus. Okay. Then the other branch is the one that's going to travel over into the left atrioventricular groove. What's that branch? The circumflex artery. Okay.
Where's that at?
That, it's kind of hidden. You can see a little bit of it right there.
That's right under the...
Yeah, what's this little thing that it's under? The auricle. Yep, that's the auricle of the left atrium right there.
So the left coronary artery branches off into the circumflex artery and the anterior interventricular artery?
Correct.
What
So-
she said.
Okay, so the left, what was that?
Okay, the left coronary artery branches into the anterior and anterior interventricular artery and the circumflex artery.
Okay, okay. All right. So
All right.
that's right there. The coronary's in the middle.
Yep.
The circumflex is on the side over there, and then that's the anterior and the one in there in the sulcus. Is
Yes.
The anterior and you know.
I know what I'm trying, I know what you're trying to say. It's kind of like an upside down Y
Mm-hmm.
here. Okay, so the left coronary artery would be the stem of the Y. Okay, and then the two branches would be coming this way.
Okay.
One going into one depression, the other one going into the other.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so all of the blood that's being delivered to the heart itself is coming from the aorta into these arteries and getting to the various layers of the heart wall. And then you can see there are veins that are going to, after the capillary beds and the exchanges happen, there are veins that are going to pick up the deoxygenated blood and start to return it to the right side of the heart. And all of that venous blood is going to drain into a large thin-walled vein, or almost all of it, into a large thin-walled vein that's on the posterior surface of the heart. What's that large?
Sinus.
The coronary sinus, that's correct. Okay, so you saw the coronary sinus on your models. It might have looked a little bit different than this. This one's a little short. The ones that you had went really all the way across the posterior surface.
Is that just the venous blood from the heart or from the entire body?
From the heart itself. So the coronary sinus is, when you have sinuses, venous sinuses, they're places where you're directing most of the blood or all of the blood that's draining from a particular organ. So remember the brain had sinuses, those dural sinuses? Okay, and so here's another place where you have sinuses, or just one sinus. So this is the coronary sinus.
So that's deoxygenated blood?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, in these representations, and even when we do the cat blood vessel dissection, if a vessel is reddish or pinkish, that means it has oxygenated blood. If it's blue, that means it has deoxygenated blood.